Jai Om Sripad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.
Bandeham Shri Garashi Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saghana Raghunatam Bidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishikam Bidam Sya Om Jnana Timarandasya Yanajana Shalakaya Chaksharam Milidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurava Bhistam Supurkam Gurganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Midam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwa Gurun Shah Divyat Bhagawat Prem Noe Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavanam Balarka Shelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyambunim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shivaram Mareka Sharanam Nyasishwara Sridharam Vanshakapatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pranayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagawat by Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur. This is Antya-khanda, chapter 6, the Glories of Sri Nityananda. All glory to Lord Gaurachandra and Lord Nityananda. All glory to all the Lord's associates. Lord Nityananda continued his pastimes of congregational chanting and experienced great joy in the association of all his eternal associates and servitors. Lord Nityananda performed his pastimes here in Navadip, just as he had done in his previous incarnation in Vrindaban. He attracted every living entity to simply surrender at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya without motive. Sri Nityananda was like the brilliant sun, surrounded by his inspired and enthusiastic devotees as they roamed all over Navadip performing kirtan. His divine body was covered with bejeweled ornaments and flower garlands. His lips were ruby red from chewing betel and camphor. Seeing the activities of Lord Nityananda, some experienced divine exhilaration, but others became doubtful and suspicious. A certain Brahmin residing in Navadip, who had studied together with Sri Chaitanya in his youth, became wary of Nityananda's behavior. The Brahmin was attached in devotion to Chaitanya, but unfortunately he was unaware of Nityananda's transcendental potencies. One day the Brahmin decided to go to Nilanchala Puri and stayed there immersed in sublime joy. Every day he visited Mahaprabhu and felt a gradual increase in his attraction for the Lord. On one of his daily visits, he suddenly felt the urge to ask the Lord some questions in confidence. The Brahmin inquired, "O Lord, I have a request. If you allow me, then I shall present it before you. If you consider me as one of your servants, then I would like to hear your views on certain points." Lord Nityananda, the Avadut, is now in Navadip. I cannot understand his behavior. People say he is in the renounced order of life, namely sannyas. Yet I see him chewing betel and camphor all the time. A sannyasi is not supposed to even touch certain things like gold, silver, precious gems, and so on. But I see him decorating his body all over with ornaments made with these substances. Instead of a saffron loincloth, he's putting on flowing silk robes and using sandalwood and flower garlands. Another part of the Lord's quaint activities is that he does not carry the sannyas danda, but an iron rod. He is always seen in the company of Shudras, persons coming from lower caste. I have not seen Nityananda I have not seen Nityananda always acting strictly according to the instructions of the scriptures. Therefore, I am assailed with doubts about him. Many persons hail him as a great personality, yet why does he not act in a way befitting his position as a sannyasi? O Lord, please remember that I'm just your menial servant. Please tell me what all this actually means. The pious Brahmin thus inquired submissively at an opportune moment from Sri Chaitanya, and the Lord revealed to him the esoteric meanings of everything without reservations. The Lord smiled gently at the Brahmin's words and spoke the following. He said, "Listen carefully, O Brahmin. One who is very elevated and a spiritually realized soul is certainly free from all faults." The Srimad Bhagavatam states, those who are free from unwanted desires such as attachment for things unconnected to Sri Krishna, those who have transcended the mundane vision of seeing only the material covering of the soul, namely the gross body, and have risen to the platform of perceiving the spiritual spark in every living entity, thus having attained equal vision, those who have become elevated to the spiritual platform of seeing face to face the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the three modes of material nature. These great souls who are dedicated to me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, do not have to enjoy or suffer the results of either pious or impious activities, nor do they have to act according to rules and regulations. Lord Nityananda is absolutely pure. He is in this material world like the lotus, which is untouched by the water within which it stands. O Brahman, know that Sri Krishna is eternally within him. However, if any person tries to imitate Nityananda, then he will suffer terrible consequences and incur heavy sinful reactions. If anyone other than Lord Shiva tries to drink deadly poison, then he will surely die. The scriptures carry sufficient examples to substantiate this fact. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, no one should try to act in this manner, not even within the mind. Just as a person other than Lord Shiva who tries to drink the deadly poison that came out of the churned ocean will certainly die. Similarly, if due to foolishness someone tries to imitate the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, then he will surely be destroyed. O King, fire is all-conquering, yet it remains unaffected and uncontaminated by any sin or dirt. Similarly, a very powerful and potent personality should not be condemned for transgressing religious laws, or even if he associates with a woman. Therefore, O Brahman, if anyone criticizes Sri Nityananda's activities, then he will have to suffer for the mistake with severe reactions, life after life. If a very elevated soul acts in a manner that appears offensive and he is ridiculed, nay, even just criticized, then the critic is surely doomed. All these conclusions can be learnt from the Srimad Bhagavatam, but only if a pure Vaishnava explains the subject. Listen attentively to what the Srimad Bhagavatam has to say about the person who laughed at and ridiculed a great personality. Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram stayed and studied in the house of their guru, Sandipani Muni. After completing their education, they wished to return home, but first they inquired from Sri Sandipani what they could offer as Guru Dakshin, a donation to one's teacher. The Guru consulted his wife and replied that he and his wife would like to have their dead son brought back to life. Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram immediately went to see Yamaraj, the Lord of Death. On the request of Krishna and Balaram, all the formalities were concluded, and the son was returned alive to Sri Sandipani. When Mother Devaki heard about this wonderful happening, she also wanted her dead sons back. Therefore, one day she approached Krishna and Balaram and besieged them, crying, saying, one day she approached Krishna and Balaram and besieged and begged them. One day she approached Krishna and Balaram and begged them, saying, "Oh, please listen to me, dearest Krishna and Balaram. You are the lords of all mystics. You are the original transcendental lords of all creation, eternal and absolutely pure. You are the fathers of this universe and the cause of all causes. Creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe are carried out by just a partial expansion of your expansions. Yet in spite of these infinite potencies, you have both appeared in this world as my sons only to alleviate the suffering of this world. Just as you have brought back your Guru son from the abode of Yamaraj as a parting donation to your Guru and his wife, similarly, I also yearn to see my 6 sons that the mean and heartless Kamsa mercilessly murdered. The Guru's son had been long dead, and yet you brought him back to life by your mystical potencies. Kindly satiate my thirst to see my sons and bring them back to life." As soon as they heard their mother's wish, Krishna and Balaram immediately proceeded to Bali Maharaj's palace. When Bali Maharaj saw that the visitors were his most worshipable lordships, Krishna and Balaram, he felt a surge of spiritual bliss in his heart. He had surrendered all that he possessed, his wealth, wife, and children, and himself at the lotus feet of their lordships. The ecstasy of Krishna Prem was building up inside him, and horripilation, standing of the hairs on end, appeared all over his body as he began to shed tears of divine bliss. Bali fell at Krishna and Balaram's feet, and clutching them to his heart, he offered prayers. Bali Maharaj prayed, "All glories to Sri Ananta, who has appeared as Shankarshan, and all glory to Sri Krishna, the crest jewel of Gokula. O Balaram, Haladar, you are the best friend and leader of all the young cowherd boys. O Krishna, you are the most precious treasure of your surrendered devotees. O lords, both of you are rarely to be seen, even by great purified sages who are on the transcendental platform. Yet, my Lord, you are so magnanimous that you have appeared before me, a demon steeped in the darkest ignorance. Therefore, it is clear that, as described in the Vedic literature, you have no friends or enemies. This I am witnessing at this very moment. Putana, who came to murder you by making you suck her poisoned breast, got liberation to the Vaikuntha planets after being killed by you. Hence it is difficult to understand your heart. Even the Vedas and the great mystic yogis have failed to do so. Your illusory potency is so unfathomable that masters of mysticism fail to grapple with it. Then how can a sinful demon ever understand it? O Lord of the universe, my only prayer is that you do not cast me down to the dark well of material existence. I fall at your lotus feet. Please just let me live under a tree and pass my days in peace. Kindly count me amongst your servitors and give me their association, that I may never desire for anything else." Bali Maharaj prayed in this manner at the lotus feet of Lords Krishna and Balaram. Ganga Devi, the Bhagavata, springing from the lotus feet of Sri Narayan, purifies the abodes of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and so on, as she flows through them. Now Bali Maharaj and his family, having washed the lotus feet of their lordships, were now drinking and sprinkling over their heads that same sacred water of the Ganga. Bali Maharaj then worshipped their lordships, offering them incense, perfumed oils, flowers, camphor, and ghee lamps, clothing, and beautiful ornaments. He then prayed to the lords, "O Lord, kindly instruct me if you consider me your servant." Whoever follows your instruction easily transcends all rules and regulations. Bali Maharaj's words pleased their lordships, and they now attended to the business at hand. The Lord said, "Dear Sri Bali, please hear our reason for coming here. The 6 sons of my mother were murdered by the wicked Kamsa. Later he was killed as a reaction to this grievous sin. Mother Devaki is greatly afflicted by this calamity, and whenever she remembers her son, she cries piteously. You have these 6 boys with you, so I have come to take them to please my mother. All 6 of them were the grandsons of Lord Brahma, very exalted demigods and perfected beings. I will relate to you how they landed themselves in this distressful situation. One son of Lord Brahma was Prajapati Marichi, and these 6 souls were previously his sons. Once, very surprisingly, Brahma was struck by Cupid's arrow. Blinded with lust, he chased his own daughter. These 6 grandsons of Brahma, who were then just young boys, began to smirk and laugh upon seeing this scene. As a result, they fell down instantly from their godly positions. Having ridiculed a great personality, they had to take birth in the family of the vicious demon Hiranyakashipu, who had vowed to live by the sword and put everyone into subjugation. During the following fight between the demigods and the demons, Indra vanquished these 6 with his powerful thunderbolt weapon, and they died after much torment. Yogamaya then arranged for them to be born one by one as the sons of Mother Devaki. In this next life, they also suffered greatly from the moment of birth. Even while mere infants, their own material uncle, Kamsa, murdered them. Mother Devaki, of course, is unaware of these hidden facts, and she considers them her sons. I want to return them to my mother Devaki, hence my presence here. When they drink the breast milk of Mother Devaki, they will be instantaneously acquitted of all their previous sins. Take heed, O Bali Maharaj. The consequences of ridiculing a devotee of the Lord are very severe. Even perfected yogis suffer heavily if they disrespect a Vaishnava. What to mention about lesser humans? An offender of Vaishnavas has to pay a heavy price, life after life. I am delving into this subject for your benefit, so you may learn from this and never insult a Vaishnava. If a person worships me and chants my name, but offends a Vaishnava, he has to suffer severe setbacks in his devotional life. As for those who love and respect my devotees, I make myself easily available to them. The Varaha Purana states, there may exist some doubt about success in attaining perfection by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but there is no doubt whatsoever in achieving perfection by serving the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord. Further, in the Hari Bhakti Shubhodaya, it is stated, those who only worship Sri Govinda Krishna but do not worship and serve the Lord's devotees are highly insolent. They never receive the Lord's blessings. Dear Bali, you are dear to me and you are my servitor. Hence I have revealed these esoteric meanings of the scriptures to you. Bali Maharaj felt divine exhilaration by hearing the instructions of the Lord. On the moment he acted and immediately brought the 6 sons, offering them as gifts to the Lord Balaram and Krishna, thus escorted. At that moment he acted and immediately brought the 6 sons, offering them as gifts to the Lord. Balaram and Krishna thus escorted the 6 boys to their mother Devaki. Mother Devaki was overwhelmed with joy and love, seeing her 6 dead sons actually before her. Out of affection, her breast milk flowed, and she suckled the 6 sons. When these 6 boys sucked the breast milk of Devaki, They were in fact taking the remnants of the Supreme Lord. This gave them instant realization of the truth, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord and everyone else. They fell flat on the ground like sticks. The Lord looked kindly upon them and stated the Lord looked kindly upon them and started instructing them. He said, "Now you may return to the heavenly abodes of the demigods, your actual residence. But remember never to ridicule or laugh at a great spiritual personality again." Lord Brahma is the expansion of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is to receive respect equal to that of the Supreme Lord. He is not to be condemned, even if found apparently doing wrong. You have already suffered severe consequences by deriding him. So in the future, beware of further mistakes. Now you must go and beg forgiveness from Lord Brahma. Then only will you feel cleansed and blissful. So, my dear Brahman, I have related to you these topics from the Srimad Bhagavatam, so that you may give up your suspicions about Sri Nityananda, who is of the highest transcendence. Persons with little knowledge and piety cannot comprehend his position. Yet if any person becomes just slightly attracted to him because of the miracles he performs from time to time, then surely that soul will attain liberation. Nityananda has invented only to liberate the fallen conditioned souls, and actually they will be liberated only by his causeless mercy. Nityananda's behavior is beyond the jurisdiction of any rules and regulations. Who has the capacity to understand his mind? Without properly gauging his extraordinary and supramundane character, if anyone should criticize Sri Nityananda, even though such a fault finder may be directly serving the Supreme Lord, undoubtedly that fault finder will lose all his devotion. Therefore, you must immediately leave for Navadip and make everyone there understand these esoteric facts about Sri Nityananda. If by any chance someone criticizes him, then no one can save this fault finder from his imminent doom. On the other hand, whoever loves and respects Nityananda will be true in his devotion to me. Thus I confirm most strongly, if Sri Nityananda marries a Muslim girl, or even enters a drinking house, still his lotus feet are most worshipable, even for Lord Brahma. The potent words of Sri Chaitanya acted effectively in the heart of the Brahman. He became blissful, and his faith and love for Sri Nityananda increased tremendously. A Brahman returned to Navadip. Upon arrival, he went directly to meet Nityananda and honestly admitted his offenses before the Lord, who in turn heard him patiently and thus graced him with his causeless mercy. The character and activities of Sri Nityananda are the most confidential topics of the Vedas. They are inscrutable to human norms. He is a supreme mystic who is also known as the original Supreme Lord, Ananta, holding up the entire material creation upon but one of his thousands of hoods. His body is absolute and transcendental. Without the mercy of Sri Chaitanya, it is impossible to fully understand Sri Nityananda. Different people know Nityananda in different ways. Some say he is exactly like Balaram. Others say he is the foremost and dearest of Sri Chaitanya's devotees. Again, someone else says he is supremely potent, an expansion of the omnipotent Lord. Many persons honestly admit that they cannot fathom his character at all. In this manner, people freely air their opinions about the Lord. Whatever the people might say about Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda, may the lotus feet of these two devotees, whatever the people might say about Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda, may the lotus feet of these two lords be ever imprinted upon my heart. I pray at the feet of all devotees to invoke this blessing. Birth after birth, may I remain the servant of my eternal master, Sri Nityananda. This is my only desire. After hearing all this about the boundless mercy of Sri Nityananda, if anyone is so degraded and sinful as to still criticize the Lord, then I firmly kick him on his head. Sri Chaitanya is the Lord of both my Lord and Master, Sri Nityananda. Sri Chaitanya is the Lord of my Lord and Master, Sri Nityananda. This fact gives me great hope and strength. Will I ever be blessed to see my Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting together upon a throne, surrounded by all their servitor associates. All glory to Sri Chaitanya. O Gauranga, kindly bless me so that I may have the shelter of Sri Nityananda. Along with this plea, I further pray that even after gaining the association of Sri Nityananda, I may never forget your lotus feet. Wherever you and Lord Nityananda appear as incarnations, I pray to be eligible to be your eternal servitor there. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu are my life and soul. I, Vrindaban Das, humbly offer this song at their lotus feet. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Hari Harai Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raguna Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna Jai Gosai Jayate Vignanashamista Puran. Jayate Vignanashamista Puran. Jai Gosai Jarmui Taradan. Jai Gosai Jarmui Taradan. Tasavar Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Mora Panchagras. Tadir Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas. Tadir Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas. Janame Janame More Abhilas. Janame Janame More Abhilas. Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. Jabe Braje Koilabas. Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash. Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmoacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Navadeep Dham ki jai. Shri Ramayapur ki jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Koladvip ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram ki jai. Ganga Devi ki jai. Tulasi Maharani ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Vrindaban Dham ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Munju ki jai. Shri Purushottam Madam ki jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju ki jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shri Nishingadev ki jai. Bhakta Prabhata Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Shri Vrindaban Das Thakur ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Bhagawat ki jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai.